This isn't just another trip, Neil. You're not just going to work.
Do you think you're coming back?
There are risks, but we have every intention of coming back.
So while we've been focused on real-life drama in space over the past couple of days with the Soyuz story we were just talking about, Hollywood, of course, has always been fascinated by that very subject matter. Think The Right Stuff, think Apollo 13, and now you can add first man to that list. Ryan Gosling stars as Neil Armstrong, and Eli is here with more on the film that wowed TIFF and is now in wide release. Good morning to you.
Good morning. So we have the reunion of the La La Land lads. Damien Chazelle is your director, and Ryan Gosling, London, Ontario's own, the Canadian playing the American legend. Now, it's interesting. You look at the movies of Chazelle, you think of La La Land, you think of Whiplash. He's made movies about obsession, about artists, and kind of the human wreckage they leave in their wake. Now he's shifting gears to what really is a character study of this engineer named Neil. Neil is amazing with numbers. He knows how to fly a plane. People, I don't think, is really his forte. It's the early 1960s. Neil is very much the model of a button-down engineer. His face always this mixture of apprehension and befuddlement. Now, in the film, of course, a true story, his daughter gets sick. Although he tries to fight her illness with his big brain, they lose him. So him and his wife, Janet, they lose their daughter. They're struggling forward. And then he gets the call. He's being considered for the Gemini program. And even in the interview process, the matter of his daughter, his late daughter, comes up. Let's take a look.
Neil, I was sorry to hear about your daughter.
I'm sorry, is there a question?
What I mean is, do you think it will have an effect?
I think it would be unreasonable to assume that it wouldn't have some effect.
I love that moment. I mean, it says so much about the way Gosling is playing this character, but also that answer, right? The easy answer, no effect, no, I'm fine. But no, it's the integrity of Armstrong that he speaks to that, and he addresses it. Now, of course, he's accepted, thrust into this program, now in the spotlight. Not someone really built for the spotlight. Luckily, next to him is Buzz Aldrin, played by Stoll. Buzz is the kind of guy who says the thing you're not supposed to say. He looks at the rocket and says, oh, that'll go up like an atom bomb. But he knows how to charm the press. Let's take a look.
It's exciting to be the first. Even my wife is excited. She keeps slipping jewelry into my PPK.
You're planning on taking some of her jewelry to the moon, Buzz?
Sure. What fella wouldn't want to give his wife bragging rights?
Neil, will you take anything?
If I had a choice, I'd take more fuel.
Again, right? That's the engineer, right? That's the relentlessly practical, maybe not press-friendly, but practical Neil Armstrong.
So off they embark on this adventure. Who else joins them?
So you might have noticed already Carl Chandler there playing the chief of the astronaut program. Not a big stretch from his various coach-like roles, but I got to talk about Claire Foy.
Okay.
Because Claire Foy is playing Janet Armstrong. And this is the answer to the question, what kind of woman would stand beside this rocket-riding automaton? And so she plays Janet as stoic and steadfast, willing to fulfill her part of the bargain. But as that space race heats up, it becomes more challenging. They're all living together in this shared subdivision. Of course, there are accidents, and now some of those driveways are empty. So let me show you this moment where it's just before the big launch, and Neil's getting ready to leave. He's packing his suitcase, but he hasn't talked to the kids yet, and this is where Janet speaks out. Take a look.
I can't tell him that Dad spent the last few minutes packing his briefcase. You're gonna sit him down, both of them, and you're gonna prepare them for the fact that you might not ever come home. You're doing that. You.
Amazing stuff. And you know Claire Foy, of course, from The Crown.
Yes.
I think what the challenge will be for this, Heather, is that these are remarkable performances, but both of those characters are kind of ice on the surface. And so you're looking at the little micro expressions. It's the purse of the lips. It's the tiny fraction of the arched eyebrow. That's not exactly Oscar-friendly or audience-friendly, but again, I think they do great justice to those people's lives.
So talk about the moment, because of course, as we know, the story at a certain time, off he goes. How does he play that? How does it come across in the film?
I think the goal of the director was to give us Neil's perspective. This is a point of view of the space race. So you think of Apollo 13, the rocket lifts up, the camera's in the sky, this Roman candle on this fountain of flame. You don't get that. In this movie, the door closes, and then it starts to shake, and you're in this tin can, and you can barely read the control panel. You're looking at the rivets and the screws, waiting for them to pop out, and then just barely you can see the color of the sky start to change. So the director rarely lets us escape for that wide view. You really are inside as it's twisting, turning, falling, trying to figure out what's happening, using the math, using a ruler etched on the glass to figure out what you do next. Now, as you saw, much of this movie looks as if it was captured on an old roll of Kodachrome that was found in a station wagon somewhere. But then we reach the moon, and it widens to this pristine moment of glory.
Well, once they get there, I mean, there was this controversy, was there not? A shot of the stars and stripes? Weigh in on that.
So, when they leave the moon, you can briefly see the stars and stripes. It's there, but this has almost like a documentary-like feel. So I don't think it would fit to suddenly have the camera hang on red, white, and blue. But the thing that makes that controversy so ridiculous, the moment after that is the entire world celebrating what America dared to do, the nation at its best. I mean, just this remarkable feat around the world talking about that. So I don't think there's any lack of patriotism in this film, and certainly great filmmaking. 4.5 stars out of 5.
4.5 out of 5.
4.5.
Oscar worthy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.